I'd like to call to order the Apache Junction City Council work session. Roll call.
Mayor Wilson.
Here.
Vice Mayor Rizzi.
Present.
Councilmember Evans.
Here.
Councilmember Heck.
Here.
Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Nesser.
Present.
Councilmember Schroeder.
Here.
You have a quorum, Your Honor.
Okay. Presentation to discussion of art consultant.
Rudy.
Oh, Rudy.
Go kick it off.
He was trying to throw a monkey wrench at me.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm just going to do a little quick overview of our Public Art Commission and their very first project. As council may recall, it's been almost about 4 years ago, maybe, that a former mayor and a former vice mayor directed staff to work on a public art ordinance, the idea being to beautify the city, to unify development, to create art in spaces, in public spaces, and as well as private spaces that are reflective of the community and appropriate to the community. The City Council did approve an ordinance in September of 2019 establishing the Public Art Commission. It is a commission of 7 members. They have met over the course of the last year and a half or so, and we have been collecting development fee funds, which is how the public art is financed. If a developer doesn't want to themselves provide the public art, they can donate funds to the Public Art Fund. And as of yet, Mr. Mayor, that's basically what our developer friends have done. They have contributed to the Public Art Fund. The Public Art Commission met a little over a month ago, I think it's been. And, well, it's been a couple of months. They appointed a Public Art Selection Committee to review the works. I think we received works from like 13 artists. And the first project is the dog park, our newly christened dog park. And the Public Art Selection Committee looked at various artists, they reviewed them, they evaluated them, and they have recommended an artist to design the art for the dog park. Dianne Cripe is our consultant on our Public Art Committee. She has a short presentation for you all today on the recommended artist. And just looking ahead a little bit, the commission has already started to discuss perhaps the next art project and maybe even the third art project site. The next one will probably be in the roundabout, and then the one after that. So far, the idea is maybe Silly Mountain. But without further ado, Mr. Mayor, unless you have any questions for me, I'm happy to introduce Dianne Cripe, who will tell us about our first public art artist.
I don't see any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Rudy. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I'm so excited to be here for the first public art project. As Rudy mentioned, there was an artist selection panel, and on that panel there were 2 members of the current art commission. There was a member of the Parks and Recreation Board or Commission. There was an artist, a local artist, as well as an arts professional, and they came to a unanimous decision after reviewing all the materials, primarily images sent in by the artists from past work. They selected Trevor O'Tool, and then they also selected a first alternate and second alternate if for whatever reason Trevor cannot do that project. So I'd like to show you a little bit about this artist. As I mentioned, his name is Trevor O'Tool. He lives in Tucson. We opened up the call to artists to only 4 states, 4 regional states that were Utah, New Mexico, Colorado, and Arizona. And we had 13 qualified artists who submitted their qualifications. And so after a couple of hours of reviewing slides and images of work, looking at their past work history, what other projects they've done, some of the selection criteria were excellence of work, able to work within a budget, and we were looking specifically at budgets for projects that were submitted by these artists as examples of past work, their ability to create artwork that's durable and easy to maintain. And so just basically those are the criteria. So without further ado, here is the area of the dog park, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. And I want to say a shout out to Liz. Thank you so much. Liz's Parks and Recreation is also contributing to the project budget, which is $60,000. So, next one. This is an example of a work he did. It was budgeted $55,000, located in Texas. Again, materials, except for the bench, which is wood, the materials of the sculpture itself are very durable. One of the things that drew the panel to this artist was his ability to render animals. And since this is a dog park, there's a high likelihood that there will be a project involving dogs of some type. And here's another example of a project that is in Yorba Linda. And he has kind of abstracted the bear form into kind of different facets. So this is just one of the types of artwork that he does. And again, you've got the deer in the headlights, which is sited in Marana, Arizona, and the budget is $75,000. Ours is $60,000, so it's not that far off. And this is a project for City of Surprise. It's a memorial to firefighters. So you can see he does figurative forms really well. And this is another surprise project he worked with. It's $35,000, but he had his budget was also part of the architects. So this was kind of a joint architect-artist project. And then the last image is Speedy, which is another animal form. And those are all the examples of his artwork. If you would like, I can also show you examples of the two runner-ups. One was an artist from, I think he's from Scottsdale, and the other artist was a team from Utah. So if you have any questions or if you'd like to see that artist, those two artists' works, I can show you those as well.
Will he design it specifically for our,
Yes.
what do you want to call it, like culture for Apache Junction? Or, because when I looked through the pictures, there was like maybe one that seemed like it would fit what, you know, what represents our community. So he'll design, how, I'm curious to know how that'll be tailored to our community.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's probably the most important thing for a public artist is that once he or she receives a commission and signs an agreement, the artist comes to visit the town and visits the site. The artist is also going to work with Liz, learn a little bit about the history of this dog park, take in all the beauty of the natural beauty that surrounds Apache Junction. The fact that he lives in a desert is a good sign right there because he knows how the materials are going to react to intense sunlight. And there are just some materials that you don't want to use in the desert. Wood is one of them. So yeah, he's going to become informed about Apache Junction, the culture of Apache Junction, and then he's going to go work on a concept. So we don't want him to get invested in a concept yet because he hasn't met the people or visited the site.
Perfect, yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
Excuse me. Yeah, this is a question I'm going to ask, not specifically just for this project, because I'm just curious for future projects and all. And it's more just a curiosity as not in any way finding any objection. But why did you go outside of Arizona looking for artists?
Well, that's a really great question. Most public art programs, they like to have a balance of local artists, like Arizona artists and out-of-state artists. For this budget of $60,000, I wanted to get a really good pool of artists. So it's, you know, it just happened that the team liked Trevor's work, and he is an Arizona artist, and to public artists, public art administrators, that's considered local. We don't really specify that an artist has to be local. I think that a lot of times with smaller projects or maybe mural projects, we do that. Those are like $15,000 projects. Those are pretty small. We can say we only want an artist that lives within the valley or lives within certain, like Pinal County or Maricopa County or whatever. But we try not to limit. For high budget projects, usually calls to artists go nationally. Artists, a lot of times, they pick and choose the projects they want to work with, and often that depends on the budget of the project.
Okay.
Yes.
One of the reasons why you said you chose him was because, you know, his ability to depict animals, right? And we're going for this dog park. Other projects down the road, are we going to turn to Trevor again, or are you going to open it back up for other artist interpretations, depending on what we feel would be good for other locations?
That's a great question. A lot of cities don't hire an artist right away after they've done one project. A lot of cities say, you know, you wait 2 to 3 years or more before you apply again, and that's to kind of expand the pool. The next project, the Art Commission would like to do the roundabout project next, and that's going to have a higher budget, just based on the location and the kind of mass that you want to put in a space that big. It'd probably be a vertical sculpture. So that will go out to a wider group of artists, different states. So in all likelihood, Trevor would not apply for that project.
Who did that beautiful silver horse? Was that him?
That was Jeff Zischke for the one at Westworld in Scottsdale. Yeah, that was, I know it was over $100,000. I don't remember, but yeah, he's a local artist.
Anyone else? Okay,
This is exciting.
Questions?
I can't wait.
yep,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Okay. We'll move on. Presentation, discussion, proposed agreement, HDA Architects for Agricultural and Engineering Services, expansion of the Apache Junction Multi-Generation Center. Not agriculture, excuse me, architectural.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Liz Lingenbach, Parks and Recreation Director. As many of you know, the Parks and Recreation Department administrative offices are the last of the old modular buildings on the West City Hall campus. And we're typically the second-hand group, so it was the former police department. My administrative assistant is in one of the old jail cells right now. Parks and Rec renovated that building when the police department built their new building, and it has served us wonderfully over the years. But as we want to try to change that image in the area, we want to have the old go away, and we want to be able to move all of those offices over to a more secure and safe and professional-looking facility. So the city has been looking for a while, and we worked with Public Works to look at a lot of different options, and we really determined that the MGC has been identified as the most cost-efficient as well as sensible location for us to put all of our administrative staff and park staff in one location. So we are looking at potentially expanding the MGC on the north side, so the north of the gymnasium side, at a low level, so that way we don't block our views from our track and all of that good stuff. So that's kind of one of our first thoughts. The city has chosen Cole Architects, PLLC. They do business as HDA Architects, so I'm going to refer to them as HDA from here on out, to assist us in the architectural and engineering services to design. They had worked with Public Works on giving us some conceptual ideas of some different areas throughout the city that we could utilize. We are going to utilize the 1 GPA cooperative contract, and after discussing with our finance director, Leslie, as well as our project manager, who I will introduce you to here shortly, we feel really confident in the pricing that we received from HDA. So that's who we are recommending. We are recommending a professional services agreement for a total of $148,000 and $148,800, and that will include a possible contingency. So that is for our architectural and engineer services. Tonight I have with me Sue Billings. She's right over here. And she is with Elevated Design Studio. Those of you that have been at our dog park opening should find Sue familiar. She worked with us as a project manager on our dog park and did a wonderful job for us with Dutchman Dog Park, which we're very pleased about. And so at this time, I just to turn it over to you to answer any questions you might have. And then if there's anything that I can't answer, Sue is definitely very familiar with the process and can kind of walk us through anything that we have questions for.
Any questions over here?
I just would like to know the time frame.
So we hope that if we are able to start a contract this month, then over the next several months, we'll be be in the design phase, so the next 3 to 6 months. We would be working with staff to kind of identify what are the true spaces that we need over there. We have some general ideas already. And then I think in your budget, you do have money to start construction for that expansion in this next fiscal year. And so that puts us at maybe fall of fiscal year '24, maybe earlier. I will just say in our experience lately, things go a little bit longer. So I don't want to make any promises.
Will they haul those buildings off and auction them like we do with government auctions, or just demolish them?
They will likely be demolished. They're pretty old, and we're really doing everything we can just to kind of paste and duct tape and all that.
The city's growing up. I remember having meetings over
Oh, yeah.
some of those older. It's neat.
The, the last time we had buildings that were gonna go away, I suggested blowing them up and having a party. Now, I still think that that would be a fun little thing to do. The last time I was in there, my allergies to the mold was horrific. I hate to say it, but
You can.
I don't know how anybody actually works in those buildings.
We work happily in those buildings, but we're very happy to go to new buildings when the time comes, so,
I bet you are.
yes.
But think about it, Chief, if, is there any way we could, have a little excitement in downtown?
Hey, instead of just blowing them up, though, why not do a fundraiser and let everybody, for X amount of dollars, they can take sledgehammers and beat the heck out of them?
Joel, close your ears, Joel.
I think
Great idea.
We were trying to have some fun last time called Take a Whack at City Hall or something.
And,
Take a hack at-
yeah, many of you got to do didn't you guys get to bulldoze the old apartment buildings
the
for
demo.
Flatiron? Yeah.
Remember that day?
Those are some of my favorite pictures
Yeah.
of that project. So yes,
Yeah.
we'll find
Yeah,
a
we'll
creative
figure out a
way.
Creative way, right? We could figure out something.
Well, you
We'll
know,
talk to fire departments.
we've already got rid of the one, but this is finally getting rid of all of it.
This is it.
So
This is
make
very-
it a,
this
make
is
it
the
a big
beginning.
thing, from the old to the new.
It is the old city hall. I mean, it is the old council
Yes,
chamber.
it is.
So
Is
It's the old council
plan.
chambers. I remember starting
Yep.
there and a lot of
This-
memories.
this item will be on your consent tomorrow unless you choose to take it off. So I just wanted to let you know that today's a good chance to answer any questions that you might be concerned about.
Well, I guess, are we gonna blow them up?
So so where they're at, is that just gonna be an extended parking lot?
So eventually, I think we are in the middle of a space assessment for all city departments, police department, everybody kind of has some different needs with our expansion down south. And without getting into all that, I think all of that will be looked into. In the beginning, it will be just, we'll try to find something okay landscape-wise to just get us by until there's something more permanent there.
It'd be a nice art space.
It would.
Your Honor.
Would have been an amazing dog park. We could just flip-flop these things around, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We're happy
Yes.
with what we have.
Yes, Brent.
Your Honor, I just want to make a statement about the Parks and Recreation Department and their patience with us as we've worked through this. I want to extend my thanks. It's been a long time. They've been the last ones out of all of the groups to have this change. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Jamie. And thank you for everyone that's been patient. We are actually throwing, the HV costs, when we talk about running government like a business, it's in our minds as we review that facility maintenance cost, the air conditioning units that are replacing much quicker. We have other issues that we don't get into as far as animals, dead animal, other things. There are just so many holes in things. I just want to say thanks to our Parks Department who've been patient, and I'm really excited. We do have what are we looking at, a year and a half, 2 years, for sure. Yeah, we'll see.
Yep, that's what I think. Thank you.
Okay. So, presentation, discussion, professional services agreement for the senior services with Pinal-Gila Council for senior citizens.
You just guys wanted all of the attention tonight, didn't you?
We don't want it, we demand it. No.
But they rarely get it.
We're so glad PD is just last, though, so, Same, Mayor, council members, good evening. I am here tonight. I am your next 2 agenda items. I get 2. So I'm going to present on the first one, and then I will let you guys ask questions, and then you guys can lead me into the second agenda item. Not all of you guys, even though you're all very young looking, I don't know how many of you remember 20 years ago. I will give you a little back history on our senior services. Originally, as far as I can remember, we partnered with East Valley Adult Resources, and they provided our senior programs. So they provided a meal service, a transportation service, and also most of our senior programs. In 2016, they gave us notice that they were no longer able to provide those services. So the city decided that we would take those services on ourselves. So along with Pinal-Gila Council for senior citizens, I will refer to them as PG because it's very simple. They assisted in us. They've always been even a partner of EVAR. So they've been the one constant in our senior programs. They assisted us getting us started, teaching us the ropes, and they are also the primary funder of these programs. So they are the federally funded area agency on aging for this area of Arizona. The city's commitment is largely, or has largely been, providing the facility, the maintenance, and coordination of staff. While they have many other functions, J.J. Underwood, the recreation coordinator, and his assistant, Jody, help provide the majority of the staff coordination of these programs. We also help provide most of the programming. So we provide the social part, the fitness part. We aid in getting them resources and services that they need, but we are still largely supported and involved with PG. So we are going to get into our first item, which I thought, okay, I skipped it.
That was a quick presentation.
What do you think? Joel said like 2 minutes. Did I do okay? Okay, here we go. So senior meals and services. So I'm going to talk a little bit about just the meal program. Did it move? No.
Matt just made it bigger.
Thanks, Matt.
He's just messing with you.
I was gonna say, Matt's playing.
So the senior meal program consists of serving a hot meal Monday through Friday to our seniors and adults with disabilities for a suggested contribution. In addition, there's a variety of social activities related to the lunchtime hour, and also home-delivered meals are provided to 45 clients. We currently have a wait list of 25 clients. Wow. In the last 5 years, 100,000 meals were either served or delivered to that population. During and throughout COVID, we were able to continue providing these services. We never missed a beat. And actually, our numbers went up a little bit, and we were able to help serve communities that were not able to get out of their homes. Currently, we have a contract with a third party to prep and serve the daily meals. This contract ends June 30th. PG has asked that they take back prepping and serving the meals. PG ran the program before and currently runs operations out of the Casa Grande facility. We agree that this is a more cost-effective way and would like to allow PG to be able to grow the program even more. We are recommending that we enter into an agreement with PG to operate the meal program. You guys will have an opportunity, should you choose to keep it on the agenda, to be able to approve that agreement with PG. That contract is for $0. We are not paying them anything. They're coming in and running the meal program for us. Are there questions?
Yes.
I remember when PG quit providing the meals. What has made them want to step back up?
So PG did it as a transitional period. So in the time that EVAR gave us notice and the time that we needed to have the kitchen ready, there wasn't enough time to bring in a company or to do it ourselves. So PG stepped in and they said, we want to provide the meals. We're gonna help you guys out. Once we were able to get on our feet, we had a 5-year contract. They have decided that they can take over that contract, provide the meals, and grow the program themselves, probably at a lot more cost-effective rate than what we're having to pay a third party. As I mentioned before, there's 25 individuals on our waiting list right now for home-delivered meals. They're confident that should they take that program back over, we won't have a waiting list.
Oh, that's awesome.
Good.
They also run the same program in Casa Grande, and it works effectively for them, where PG is running the program. So because they have a model that I believe works, they know that they can copy that program here in our city.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor? So Jamie, just to clarify for the meal prep, you said that PG will now assume all of that. Will they do that for the meals at the MGC? Will they do the meal prep in our kitchen, or will they do it off-site and then
They're
bring?
going to do it off-site, starting in Casa Grande, doing a daily delivery, but their goal is to get back into our kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a well-utilized program. I hear a lot of people talk about it, and they talk about how good the food is.
And as far as we know, the cook is also staying.
Yes.
Jamie, who is it that's on a waiting list? That's for at-home meals?
So we send out a home-delivered meal right now.
Uh-huh.
And so they're delivered twice a week? Once a week. Once a week, they're delivered 7 meals,
Oh,
5 or 7 meals, whichever they choose. But right now, we are at capacity for what we can do with the funding we have.
okay.
They believe if they take over it, they can reduce their overhead costs and be able to add more people onto that program.
Okay. My question, though, is, you say they can take on these 25 people that are on the waiting list. Do they have a tops of how many people that they'll say, well, we can only take, I mean, if their answer is, well, we'll take these 25, but we can't take any more than that.
They haven't said what their capacity is. 90 to 100 total.
How many they got now, taking on these 25?
We have 45 currently,
Okay,
adding on 25, so there still is some room
Okay.
for growth.
alrighty.
Perfect.
Anyone else? Okay, continue.
That's what I have for this first, my first go-around, so you guys can lead me into my next one.
Okay, we'll start on the next one, is the professional agreement for Central Arizona Council on Developmental Disabilities for Senior Transportation Services.
Thank you. The next item is for an amendment to renew our existing agreement with Central Arizona Council on Developmental Disabilities, also known as CACDD. Our senior transportation program provides rides to the senior center for the lunch program and for other related activities that fall around the lunchtime program. We also provide shopping trips and assist with the costs associated with private transportation for medical appointments when we have the grant funding available. In the last 5 years, over 8,000 round trips were taken for shopping, medical, and to the center, and over 2,500 trips this past year. This program is also funded largely by PG. We do receive some grants, private donations, and some general fund dollars go to this program. CACDD has been a good partner. They have a fleet that is ADA accessible for seniors, and they have trained staff that know how to work with the senior population and those that have disabilities. The most notable change in this amendment is the change for the price of service. In the last 5 years, CACDD has not increased their prices. So in this amendment, the fee will go from $15 to $17 per rider, and for shopping trips, the per mile fee increased from $4 to $6. We would like to, like I said, we've been a great partner, CACDD. They've always been on time. We've not had any issues with our rides. Our riders love their drivers. We highly recommend to be able to re-enter and renew this contract with CACDD. That also will be on your agenda tomorrow evening. Questions?
Any questions? Oh, the price of fuel on it is definitely involved in this as well.
Yes, I would assume so. And like I said, in the last 5 years, they've not increased their prices, so we think it's pretty fair.
So do they think that they may have to review that again in another year?
They have
Get
the
on the
right
rates?
to review it. They have the right to do a price increase. The contract does allow a 90-day notice. So if for any reason they decide or we decide that we can no longer continue the agreement, we can with a 90-day notice and the agreement.
I don't see any other questions.
That's it. That's all I have.
All
Thank
right,
you, guys.
thank you.
Easy breezy.
Great job.
And discussion and presentation, the Apache Junction Police Chief regarding the purchase of 5 replacement consoles for police telecommunication.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, members of council. It's happy to be here with you guys. So we're going to talk about tonight something that we're going to be doing here at the PD, hopefully with your approval. This is going to be reference the 911 dispatch center. We're going to be replacing consoles, and it's going to be a really big project for us. So you may remember last year in March of 2021, our facility, our communications room was gutted. It was remodeled, it was updated. However, there was a piece of equipment in there that we are going to talk about. What we need to do is, with this proposal, is to get some replacements for some old hardware. So what we're going to be doing and asking is for 5 replacement dispatch consoles. Right now, we currently have 3, and these are old models. So what we're going to be doing is updating to the Access Dispatch Motorola consoles and replace the MCC 7500 consoles. So we currently have 3 in there right now. These are old radio systems. It's basically how we communicate with our officers out on the street, as well as with other agencies in the TRWC, or as you can see that last bullet point, the Topaz Regional Wireless Cooperative. Each new access console supports up to 10 dispatch positions, but at this time we will install only 5 positions. So that gives us room to expand as we start growing as a city. It'll give us the latest equipment that we are going to need in the future, but it gives us an opportunity to expand that to 10 in the future. The project pricing includes software, hardware installation, and implementation, and the total contract price is $612,702.70, and this is going to be paid for by the ARPA money, which is the American Rescue Plan Act. Next question, or this will be on tomorrow's consent agenda too, for you to look over, and if you have any questions, myself or Commander Penzi will be able to help answer them.
I had a question regarding, under 1.5, the assumptions, because this price is included of everything that's in the proposal as I read it, but the assumptions are based on some things being already in place physically. Different power things, different setups in there. Are all the assumptions already handled, so there won't be an additional expense?
You want to answer that?
So we had Motorola out already, and they did a walkthrough before they even gave us this quote and pricing. Because first it came in a lot higher, but then with the state contract and stuff, it was able to come down in price and save us some money.
Okay.
Anyone else? I see shaking heads and no.
All right, I like that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Breezy night.
and since there's no other questions, I'm going to adjourn our meeting. See you all tomorrow.
Thank you for.